Hello, ladies, gentlemen, non-binary friends, and happy Valentine's Day from us here at Risen Esports. You are tuned in to the Risen Premade Dominant League. My name is Joker. I've got Axeman87 here with me. And if you don't have anybody for this Valentine's Day, don't worry, you've got us for the next 2 hours. And we'll make sure we send you all the love and support that we can as we take a look here at our first week of Premade Dominate action. It's going to be We Love Soulbert taking on Team DG, and this is going to be kind of a fun matchup here, X-Man.
I'm having fun with my background right now. I got a looping heart gif. It's a lot of fun, but yeah, I promise I'm also paying attention. Yeah, I'm really excited for Premade Dominate. And this is my first actual cast with Risen, so I'm hoping to make a good impression with looping gifs and green screen. I hope everybody appreciates that. But I got the pro draft link and I'm looking at it and there's nothing going on right now. Is that correct? Is that what we're looking at right now?
That is correct. We are just waiting on everybody to get loaded up. And it's going to be, like I said, it's going to be an interesting matchup here because we've got the defending champions, We Love Soulbert, taking on the team that went 2-0 in their play-ins to make it into the league, and they've got some unconventional compositions that they usually go in with Team DG. And not only that, Team DG had a emergency substitution. Their mid laner lost power here right before we got ourselves into lobby and into draft here. So they are going with a substitute support who is DGS Poiba. And they're swapping their AD carry Ben up to the mid lane and their support up to the bottom lane. So this will be very interesting to see how Team DG can work around this as we are into the picks and bans. We do see the Udyr, Camille, and Aphelios taken off the table so far.
Joker, I don't mean to call anybody out here, but I think it's probably more likely they forgot they had a date for Valentine's and the power went out. But you know, there are storms across the country, so maybe, I don't know. I'm just throwing suggestions out there, but we are into the actual pick ban now, and the bans are getting taken away. We see a lot of top laners getting taken off the table right now, including Camille and the Aurelia as well. A couple junglers there too in the Malphite and Udyr, but surprised that Olaf is still on the table after this pick ban. I feel like Soulbert just picks that up easy.
Yeah, and it should be interesting. The Graves though is actually the hover for We Like Soulbert. That's not where we expected to see the first pick, like you said, but hey, you know, they're taking their time and trying to see what they can find, especially because Team DG, they play these kind of weird compositions. They play these styles that we're not used to. They won a lot with Soraka Karma in the bot lane, just to kind of show you the flexibility that Team DG have in their compositions and their picks. So, you know, it's going to be weird to see what We Like Soulbert can do, as I already see the Karma being hovered. They might just immediately go for that Karma Soraka bottom lane, and that would just set us on one wild roller coaster ride here in game number 1.
I would say so, and Senna being the first pick here for Soulbert is a little strange, right? I mean, you got Kaiser left on the table. Zio is even up if you wanted to first pick another ADC that at least works. But Senna is taken here on our blue side first pick. So interesting to say the least, but this has to be a power pick for Soulbert. Otherwise, there's no real reason in picking at this point in the draft. Hecarim locked in for DG here as the Graves is once again hovered, and just want to remind everybody, Olaf is on the table, is up, so they could definitely go for that pick and make me very happy. But no, they're going to lock in these lesser junglers, Joker.
I would have liked that Olaf pick because it can match Hecarim early on, and if you can keep Hecarim down early on, it means that he doesn't get to scale very hard. It means that your early and mid game should go much better for We Like Soulbert, but they decided to not go for it. Like you said, Graves being picked up, Twisted Fate also locked in, so they've got a little bit of that map mobility coming in. A couple globals actually from We Like Soulbert, so they're looking to play all across the map. Should be a fun time, and it should be very powerful for them as they get into the mid to late game, being able to just immediately flip themselves around the map as much as they can, influence those side lanes, and make the random plays happen. The Morgana being the lock-in here for Team DG. Again, very flexible composition. We know the Hecarim's going into the jungle. We don't know exactly where the Karma and the Morgana are going to go quite yet.
Yeah, and that's the thing with DG, right, is I don't know anything. Like, where is any of this going? It could be anywhere. Karma top, Morgana jungle. Hey, man, I don't know.
I've seen I've seen Morgana jungles happen.
Yeah. Sure.
I actually won very recently with a very aggressive Morgana jungle. Not a lot of farm on the Morgana, but a lot of invades and a lot of camp stealing. So I've seen it happen. It could happen. I don't think it's gonna happen, but especially with the Hecarim being picked up, but the option's there. Meanwhile, back into the bans, Gragas Fiora taking away more top lane focus once again. Gonna be a little bit difficult for either one of these teams to really nail down a great top lane pick. We're starting to fall back down the tier list. The last support ban is actually going to be the Alistar here from Team DG, so not wanting that lane control, something that pairs with the Senna. Could see with the Alistar being banned, we could see something like a set being picked up potentially that leads to like the fasting Senna, allowing the set or whoever her lane partner is to pick up the farm, and that just makes an even stronger bot lane because Senna will gain damage, will gain stats, will gain gold from the spirits that she'll pick up. So going to be very interesting to see, as this could be a misfortune pickup in an actual bot laner, an actual marksman in the bot lane for Team DG.
There's no way. They locked it in, Joker. What is going on? But yeah, I know Renekton's still on the table as far as the top lane option, and there's some pretty significant shields over on the side of DG for Karma, so that might be a good lock in for Soulbert, but we'll see what they go for here. I know you mentioned Set. Set is a potential top laner for sure, but Swain hovered briefly. I think it's more likely we'll see something that doesn't make a plethora of sense. And yeah, the Swain gets locked in, so there we are. That should be down bot lane with Senna, I would imagine. And then we'll look for a top laner here. There he is. There's our boy.
Yeah, the Renekton pick I do like here. There's a lot of options for Team DG. If they want to go something standard, they could absolutely go with something like an Ornn. If they want to get a little bit frisky, they could go with something like the Quinn, which is a great matchup into the Renekton and fits Team DG's style. It seems like there's a lot of mobility and a lot of pick potential in plays. The Shen also would fit in well with this composition, but again, like you said, still fits in a lot of shields. Gonna mean that Renekton's gonna get a lot more value as we continue on throughout the draft or throughout the game to make sure that you can try to shred away those shields. But the Shen is going to be locked in, so it's a Shen Renekton matchup into the top lane. That's most likely meaning that we have that Karma into the mid lane for Team DG, although we could see Morgana mid and just using the pools to push Twisted Fate back, make sure that he can't roam as easily or will get punished very easily.
Definitely possible. We'll have to wait until the actual draft to see, and that should be getting underway any moment now. Pull that up on the main screen so I can see it, Joker. I have to be able to see to cast things. I don't know if you knew that about me, but this can be an interesting jungle matchup. I think we see Hecarim more often than not in competitive play because jungle is such a heavily contested position that a lot of times you'll see like 6 jungle bans or something like that, and like everything's taken off the table, and people are like, well, it played Hecarim last season, so they locked that in. It's a good jungler as well. It's just it ends up not finding itself in the top 5 because there are so many good junglers at the moment. Jungle is so strong. So that's kind of where I find ourselves a little bit here. but not as many junglers taken off the table as normal, right? This is a more of a power pick for DG, something that they were looking for even before this draft started. So we'll see what they can make happen with this pick. I have high expectations for it, though, because they left a lot of very, very strong junglers on the table to pick this.
Yeah, that Graves is going to have to step up and really make sure that that the lanes don't fall behind, that the Hecarim doesn't have the early pressure in the early game that Hecarim can really have, especially once he hits level 6, because that's when it's going to get really difficult. This team DG level 6 composition is very, very scary. Because you do have the opportunity for Hecarim to dive into the backline, followed it up with the Shen. That can push everybody back towards you, but then you got the Morgana who can get the roots, the stuns, the misfortune bullet time over the top. There is a big wombo combo possibility here for Team DG, but we love Soulbert. They do have a pretty decent level 6 themselves. A big AoE composition with the Swain, the Renekton, Graves with the damage over the top. Senna's right there to help provide the extra shields and healing. The Twisted Fate is the one pick that doesn't necessarily fit in with the level 6. They were looking to play more of a full across the map style with their first 3 picks, but then they take the Swain and Renekton. That leads to more of a team fight composition. That leads to more of they want to brawl, they want to get in, and Twisted Fate doesn't necessarily fit in with that.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. It's a strange pick. It's almost like they were picking it away here from DG, trying to keep that away from the Shen composition. But at that stage, it would have been very difficult for them to have assumed that Karma was going mid lane. So they almost picked this like for no reason, because Karma Shen is probably what they were going for when they went into this draft. At least from like a comp perspective. So yeah, Twisted Fate picked for not a lot of reason. However, Twisted Fate is a very strong champion in their own right. And if you were looking for someone to enable the Renekton, this is a very good pick to be able to do this. Now, I'd like to point out, it's actually the support that's locked in Senna here and Soulbert that's locked in Swain. So I guess we know who the real carry is for the time being anyway.
Well, it does make sense. We're seeing a lot of this fasting Senna in high level pro play, in the amateur play, in the amateur tournaments. So seeing a support Senna is going to be the interesting pickup here, as the Swain does get locked in the marksman or the bot lane carry role, which would make sense. I mean, either way, you're wondering, why you would go with like the fasting Senna as the AD carry when you can just put her support. But sometimes it's a little bit difficult if you have another marksman to pick up, because that's a very volatile lane, a very weak lane. If you can't get yourself pushed out ahead, especially if you've got a support like a Morgana or like the Alistar that was banned away, something like that can engage on those 2 marksmen. So now knowing that they have the opportunity to be a little bit flexible, they do decide to put the Senna into the support role as opposed to the Swain. So either way, you were going to get a fasting Senna most likely, but it seems like each one there in support for We Love Soulbert, they do want to take the Senna. They feel more comfortable on it. So that's what we're going to see.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a pretty good time here. I love seeing the off meta picks. And what you imagine are one tricks pulling their magic, but looking forward to it.
Yeah, this is one of the beautiful things of the Premade Dominate League, is that we get to see these kind of compositions and these styles of teams come out and play. We're going to take a quick break as we're here in spectator delay. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with week 1 of Premade Dominate League. It's We Love Soulbert taking on Team DG. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome, welcome on to the Rift, ladies and gentlemen, non-binary friends here for game number 1 between We Love Soulbert and Team DG. It's Axeman87 and Joker, myself here with you. So we do have a 5-minute stack here from We Love Soulbert, trying to see if they can't catch somebody out early on. Voices Viper might be caught in a bad position, but that ward will at least spot the stack, so should be alive for with no issues.
Oh yeah, the ward goes down super quickly there as all 5 members are stacked up. But what's up, guys? It's Axeman87, and we're here with you for Risen. Once again, it is Soulbert and DG. They're going at it here. A little bit of a slow start this level 1. No shenanigans, nothing really coming out for us yet. It's going to be the Deep Vision drop by Surge Relic on the reset to pick up the red trinket. That's just good League of Legends.
All right, it looks like we are having a bit of a technical difficulty here on the production, and don't worry, we'll try to get things situated as quickly as we can. You didn't miss much. Like we said, there was just a 5-man stack from We Love Soulbert down onto the top entrance to the lower jungle of Team DG. Ward was dropped down, but they did get it cleared away, but no other level 1 has really happened, so you haven't missed much action. So don't fret, don't worry. We'll just make sure that we get this all situated and taken care of to make sure that we can give you the production value that you deserve here and give you the games that you want to see. Obviously, that's what you're here for. But this gives us a little bit more time to kind of go into the compositions and see exactly what we've got here. Something I do find super interesting here are some of the keystone choices for both teams. Taking a look here over at We Love Soulbert, Jalingo on the Graves has the Phase Rush, and Soulbert himself actually has the Conqueror on this Swain, which is Conqueror is an interesting choice on the Swain. I do like it. It does mean that your earlier game is going to be struggling a little bit, but once you can get into the extended team fights, that Conqueror is going to put out so much extra damage and healing, especially on a champion like Swain, who already does heal a lot with his ultimate. It's going to be tougher to kill him if you can get into these long extended traits.
Exactly, and so much of the purpose of like a Swain in a carry role too is to get that scaling and then kind of 1v9 the mid to late game. When you're looking at something like a Swain support, a lot of your goal is to enable an early game burst champion to be able to kill those targets, right? So you look at something like a Jhin, Swain, Swain, Swain Draven, stuff like that. You want to lock people down with E, drop the W on them, and proc things like Electrocute, right? And then make sure you're getting the burst damage down. If you're trying to carry, Electrocute's not going to help you. You might get a little bit more burst damage down, but the reality is that extra little bit of burst damage isn't going to get you kills in the early game when the only one trying to help you is a Senna that's not farming. You're not going to get any kills. So you're better off looking for the Conqueror, looking for that late game, looking to scale up. And that's what they're doing with this keystone. I like it a lot. Now, recognizing that getting locked up by Swain or getting gold carded by TF on a roam or something like that is going to literally be the death of you. Poisonous Viper has cleanse. That makes a lot of sense. If you're going to get blown up here, you want to avoid that as much as possible, even though you have things like the Black Shield on top of you. Even though you're a very strong early game champion, if you're going to get stunned up there in the first couple of minutes of this game, you will never come back from that snowball. So that's why we had the cleanse.
Yeah, I do like that. It does mean that Poisonous Viper doesn't have that heal, so any kind of extended trade or massive burst is going to be a little bit scarier. But you do have the Black Shield from Poiba, which should be able to help out, as most of Soulbert's damage is going to be that magic damage. So being able to shield it up will be a little bit better. There is the Arcane Comet on Poisonous Viper as well. So they really are looking to try to get this lane domination, this lane control, to make sure that Soulbert doesn't get himself too much ahead early on. Just a second as we get ourselves unpaused. All right, now we are back live. And like I said, you're seeing here, you didn't really miss much of anything. And now we're going to get to see this level 1 topside invade. And I love this coming in from Wheel of Soulbert. They got a ward down on the blue buff. So Surge Relic is, they are going to see that Surge is on that blue buff, but they're going to steal the red buff away. And it's not seen by anybody. A double root lands from Soulbert. So starting off strong already. But Ishwan takes the brunt end of the trade, stepping up a little bit too close.
The best part is, as well, is that Surge Relic had dropped a similar ward up in the top side in the blue, but the invade means that that ward's not going to see anything. So they have tracking on the Hecarim, but they don't have the opposite on here on the Graves. Graves is going to take Raptors as well in this invade. That's a pretty big advantage for him. Here's the gank in the mid lane.
Yeah, going right in on a Ben, but forcing out the flash. A lot of damage does come out. That gold card was right there, but Ben will be able to trade it back. Earl King is in a little bit of a tricky situation. Had the gold card prepped, but did not want to step up to try to get the counter. As Chise is going to find Fisher mode, will heal up a little bit thanks to that Call of the Meek. But it's a low-level trade here from both top laners. Chise does go in, does not have Ignite, so we'll have to try to force this out on his own. Flash in, first blood picked up by Chise. As Ben pushing in on the mid lane won't pick up Earl King, but hey, first blood going over to Wheel of Soulbert. Great start here from the defending champs.
Almost exactly what you expect from a champion like Renekton. Is this great first blood? A little unfortunate, maybe Fisho mode misunderstanding the matchup a little, I guess. You want to be farming up to back and buy that Bramble Vest on your first reset, so you can actually trade with this champion, or at least something like the Kindle Gem or Bammy Cinder, something like that. But you can't fight Renekton with just a starter item.
No, it's a very, very difficult because of all the burst damage that he can bring out, and especially now that Chise even has the CS advantage, has that first blood, the extra gold means it's going to be even tougher as Jalingo finds himself in the mid lane once again, double buffed up, but just continuing to help push in the mid lane, try to rotate down, get the double scuttle crab. The red buff still available for Jalingo, so a 3 buff start here from Wheel of Soulbert. They have really started off on the right foot. They've got 1,000 gold lead here, and they may even look to try to dive this bottom lane. It'd be a little bit early to do so. And so they do decide to back up. Binding won't hit as they continue to push in and just try to stay alive. But Pushes Viper struggling a little bit in CS right now.
Yeah, I'll say Soulbert's like doubling their CS. Crazy. How's this happening with the Swain showing their prowess on the champion? Take a look at Jalingo and what they're trying to have happen down the bot side here. They're looking to just continue taking camps off of Surge Relic. And while they're down a little bit, the vertical jungling is going to go the way of Jalingo as far as advantages go. Not sure if they're trying to give over blue buff to Ishwan or what's happening there, but it looks like that might have been what was happening. No, they're just helping him a little bit with the pressure. Soulbert now out of mana. Surely the onslaught must end here, Joker.
Chise, though, in a very rough position, does have the slice and dice. This slice, but does not decide to dice. There is the teleport, though, coming in from the Twisted Fate. They're going to try to turn this around. Fisher mode caught. Gold card is up. Does get blocked out, but Chise survives. Did not have the flash. Didn't have to use it. Thanks to that teleport coming in from Earl King, pushes away the rest of Team DG. Great team play coming in from Wheel of Soulbert early on already.
You know, it didn't occur to me that the gold card was an empowered auto attack. It's interesting. I guess that gets blocked by that ability. Huh. Oh well. I'm a real analyst, I promise. But yeah, you avoid the stun there. I don't think it was going to matter too much anyway. Earl King not really bringing enough damage to the table to be able to flip that 2v2 on its head, but it's a good ultimate nonetheless. Yikes. Chise showing perhaps that they don't understand this matchup as well as Fisho does. But
well, you got to remember, did get caught in that gank there with the Hecarim coming up. So Chise already is a little bit lower than he would like to have been. But still, even up in CS, and then did have that first solo kill available. So does have to be careful. That taunt does put in quite a bit of damage along with the empowered autos from the Shen Q as we're seeing here. So gotta be very, very careful if you're Chisei. Does have the ultimate available, does have the domination available, the Dominus, so can decide to turn around. So Esports comes in with Jolingo. Can't get the slow because of the black shield point, but will have to flash away as they turn their efforts towards the Morgana. But Morgana gets away with the flash. Poisonous Viper had to flash away. Successful gank from Jolingo. Spending nothing, getting everything.
All right, Jolingo positioning to perhaps invade. Oh, here we go. She's just always in. You know, they love directed camera showing us the top lane. But Surge Relic might be in trouble here. Is Jolingo blast going over the wall? Yeah, blast going over the wall. The teleport comes in from Earl King. The Destiny Gate pushes Surge Relic away, and now comes the counter teleport coming in from Fisho mode, trying to get the shield in, but does get rooted up. Will be able to block up, but Earl King is in a very rough position. Does flash away. Will get tethered up and rooted up, but there comes Chisei back on the side. Surge Relic will end up falling as well. That binding will land from East. One Poisonous Viper does get the cleanse in, but it does not matter. You are not Captain Jack. You will end up falling. That's 3 kills picked up here for Wheel of Soulbert for nothing. Plus they get the blue buff and they'll get the dragon. That'll do it, I'll say, for Soulbert in this game 1. Mother God, I don't like to call him early here, Joker, but this one is not looking good for DG whatsoever. We'll stop the count, as they say. Earl King looking for a little bit of poke damage as that dragon finally falls for Soulbert. Soulbert, by the way, still doubling the CS quite handily from Poisonous Viper. This is an early game AD carry, by the way. It's not like MF is weak in the early game, like very strong champion. It's just kind of Soulbert diff at the moment.
Soulbert has done a fantastic job in CSing here in the bottom lane, but that teleport play from Chisei really turned the tides. It did look like the Stand United was going to really affect that team fight, and especially with Earl King getting caught out there by multiple members, caught in basically in the middle of 4 people from Team DG, but Chisei turning things right back around, showing the early power of the Renekton in that team fight. Now Jolingo's made his way to the top side. Gonna get the flash done in response from Chisei. Gonna continue to try to chase out Fisho mode. Does have the ultimate from Jolingo, just not enough damage just yet. Fisho mode escapes with a sliver of health.
Man, I don't know. Y'all wanna just go get dinner or something? I don't know if this is just gonna, if anything's gonna change. I think things just keep getting worse for DG. I don't know, Joker, you see a way out of this for them? It's not gonna be through the Rift Herald. I can tell you that much anyway. Yeah, no Rift Herald. Surge Relic though does find Chisei, but Chisei will take this 1v1. Heals up quite nicely with the Call of the Meek. I would say that maybe they look to scale, but Team DG really doesn't have any scaling anymore. Shen will be okay, but the rest of the team, they are playing for this early to mid game, and then you've got to deal with the Swain, you've got to deal with the Twisted Fate, you've got to deal with the Senna. You cannot outscale those 3 champions if you are Team DG. They needed to make something happen in the early game, and they just, unfortunately, they tried and the pieces just weren't there. Yeah, the Blitzkrieg that Soulbert has dropped onto DG has been super effective against them thus far. The way the comp is supposed to work for this team is that you just kind of get MF to carry you through that early prio that the champion inherently has, and carry it through the mid game with champions like Karma and Shen supporting them. But through levels 1 through 6, or I guess 5 for Poisonous Viper, who has not yet achieved level 6, there has been no success, right? Not even in the slightest bit there. The CS numbers have been awful. They've even died. I think they might have been first blood. I'm not 100% on that one, but regardless, there hasn't really been anything to play off of. They might go down here, actually.
Yeah, they're looking for this dive, but a Poisonous Viper, but Surge Relic is right there. Bullet time over the top is going to help turn that fight. Each one goes golden. Does not matter. Will end up falling. Double kill to Surge Relic. A great counter gate. Now, Earl King has found the trade 1v1 against CW Ben. Ben is going to be able to survive, but that is a great turnaround for the side of Team DG. You didn't necessarily get the gold on the member you wanted, maybe in that misfortune, but this Hecarim should be able to still provide a bit of damage going into the mid game to try to turn things right back around.
Joker, I've decided I'm now a Surge Relic fan, and I hope they win. They had any port in the storm, as they'll say. And that was a pretty convincing double kill. I like to see that. Maybe a little bit of an overstep from Soulbert. And I want your opinion. Was that the bait from Poisonous Viper, or just a good look from Surge Relic?
I think it was more of a good look from Surge Relic. He was taking that romp and was not necessarily in position to really capitalize. But Poisonous Viper playing a little bit of bait. But I think it definitely was more of Surge Relic being able to move over exactly when he needed to help turn that around. Now he's moved up to the top lane. Chisei, though, has a 2-level advantage over Surge Relic, so Surge has to be careful. Chisei also does have the finished Gore Drinker. First person in the game with a finished mythic item, by the way. So definitely need to keep an eye on that Renekton and the early pressure.
Oh, are they gonna get this charge down?
That champion will provide. They do get the charge. They will get this first turret as well.
That was
so
a bad charge.
Continuing to push down, but yes, you're right. That took a lot of extra damage that it didn't need to. They threw down the Rift Table just a bit too soon. As Fisher Mode, though, gonna get stunned up and get taken down. Chisei gonna pop the Dominus and just slap the Shen to death. Goes on a rampage 4-0. Very fitting here for the first game for the Premade Dominate League. Is the Dominus coming in from Chisei to help secure a rampage.
I thought you were about to say a different word than Shen as you were halfway through, but you finished the Shen, and I was like, yeah, you slapped the Shen out of Shen, that's right. But this dragon is going to go down to Soulbert, the second of the game, and Surge Relic, our boy, is trying desperately to make something happen on the top side of the jungle, even positioning behind Chisei. Is it wishful thinking, Joker? Is it hubris? I don't know, but it's not going to work.
I don't know either. Earl King did teleport in, has the gold card available, will stun up the Renekton, and there's a nice ultimate coming in from Ishwan to help turn things around. That's what I meant when I said they have that global composition. Now, CWB flashes in, but can't land the empowered Q onto Chisei. Chisei should be able to get away, basically scot-free, rooted up.
Here we go.
There goes the Pull of the Meek to help heal Chisei up, as well as the Gore Drinker to keep him alive, but Earl King is not going to get the focus. Goes Golden Fisher Mode is going to get focused up by multiple members.
Yikes.
Even the Swain dropping the vision from mid lane to help secure that kill. And yeah, this is the definition of insanity for Surge Relic. Doing the same thing and expecting a different result.
Exactly, right? I mean, you need to stack up the defensive items, at least if you want to have a chance of killing this champion. And it's what Fisher Mode has been trying to do, but you just don't have enough defense to be able to make this play happen. Surge Relic, he's on the run. He is spell immune, fortunately. His Poiba has been one of the brighter lights for this team. I'll go ahead and say Surge Relic not far behind, but yeah, that was an ill-advised play. I'll go ahead and say positioning behind Chisei like that. You put the Crocodile into a corner and expected it to not fight its way out, and that is not a bright decision there. Chisei getting all the way out there, still deathless on the Renekton. I don't know, Joker. It feels like Gore Drinker still needs a couple more nerfs before it's balanced.
I think, you know, you're probably not necessarily wrong, though I have seen a lot of games where Gore Drinker, even early on, does not necessarily matter. So I think it's just in the hands of the player. And right now, Chisei is really showing why this Renekton pick was used and was utilized. This was the last pick for We Love Soulbert. They waited until the last second to pick their top laner. And they weren't going to get the top counter pick, but they wanted a very strong laner as Chisei continues to put out the damage, chunks out Ben to about half HP, but now they're going to try to turn onto Fisher Mode in the top lane. Surge Relic is right there to try to counter, but immediately turns around and says, no, I don't think I want any of this at this point. Fisher Mode does fall.
I like how it's just kind of Graves and Twisted Fate, a couple of gangsters, just kind of almost mugging Shen up in the top lane. It looked really sad, and it definitely looked illegal. But Rick Trail is going to be falling now to Soulbert. Where they drop this, I don't think it matters anymore. Yikes. Hey, who do you send to defend against the Renekton? You think it's the champion with all the shields? Maybe not. Oh boy.
Yeah, Ben has been doing a decent job, but all you can really do against something like Renekton is just try to wave clear and make sure that he can't push in just as much as he wants to. You're not going to be able to poke him out. He does not have a lot of MR. That's your one kind of that's your one kind of benefit there, is the fact that the Renekton right now hasn't itemized really into any defensive stats. Has gone purely offensive, but it doesn't really matter because Ben has gone for that Moonstone Renewer build, so won't have the early damage anyway that you normally see coming out of a Karma. Even Poiba is building towards that Moonstone Renewer, so they've got the potential to turn some of these team fights around if they can get to 2 items, get the full Moonstaff build going. There's the opportunity for a lot of heals and a lot of extra damage to come in, but we're 17 and a half minutes and they are down 11, almost they're down about 10k gold, and it's such an uphill struggle to try to get there that I don't know if they're going to make it to 2 items.
For sure. I don't know if they will either, or if Poi will even make it to 1, but yeah, it's just support things. Dragon spawning now in under a minute. This is Soul Point for Soulbert, which is something I like to say whenever I cast Soulbert, because I'm the only one who thinks my jokes are funny, you know?
It's Ben.
Oh, Ben. There we go.
it's a Pyrrhic victory for Team DG. They get a little bit, but they're still gonna lose a lot as the Cloud Drake will get secured. We are on Soul Point for Soulbert, and Cloud Drake, Cloud Soul will actually be very, very nice for this team.
Yeah.
Chisei, Earl King, Soulbert himself, all 3 ultimates that you would love to have shorter cooldowns on and extra movement speed with, because you Destiny gate yourself in, you can move so much faster to try to land the gold cards. Obviously, massive AoE damage coming in from Chisei and Earl King, and you want, or Soulbert, excuse me, and you want to have the movement speed to get that in better position. That charge will go off.
Wow, there we go.
And so that's a lot of damage put down. Now the binding will land onto Chisei. Official mode with the taunt is going to get punished here. This turret should fall. Surge Relic is in the back line waiting for that flank to try to turn things around, but it's going to be a little bit too late. He's not pulling the trigger just yet, and they are losing quite a lot for it. The rest of the team, they are just not communicating well. The stun will land on a Poisonous Viper. Flash and Cleanse used up. Bullet Time comes in, and now Surge Relic decides to go in and tries to use the Unstoppable Onslaught to do anything. Flash is being taught.
Oh, no.
Chisei is just in the backline wreaking havoc. Goes dominating with the double kill. Poiba gonna get taken down. Surge Relic, you pulled the trigger about 5 minutes too late, and it's gonna end up costing Team DG the game.
So, yeah, I don't know if DG can play through the bot side. Not against Soulbert anyway. Team is literally named after him, fellas. Yeah, it's funny because they didn't even play through bot side, right? This was just the Chisei show. Team might as well be called We Love Chisei. That was a monster Renekton.
It might as well be, hey, 9x Soulbert feeding, because he and each one were the only 2 that ended up dying, and they died in that somewhat ill-advised early dive in the bottom lane, where Surge Relic was able to pick up the only 2 kills for Team DG. So minor things to look for Team DG is that they did answer the dive properly. They were able to get a couple kills, but they couldn't do anything else around the map, and that's going to be a big struggle for Team DG as we go into game number 2, is how do they respond to this? What do they ban away? Because it's not looking like these off-meta picks or these weird picks that they might have are working out.
I mean, it's got to start with banning the Renekton, right? I don't think you can let them have that champion again, at least not without drafting some kind of counter to it. Would be the idea for me anyway, but I'm pretty sure they picked Shen into this Renekton, so I don't know necessarily where the fix is there. I think there's a lot of fundamental ideas that DG has to work on before they can stand up to Soulbert, but this is League of Legends. It's a game of variables. There's a way for this team to win. They just have to find out which way that is.
They absolutely do. We are going to go ahead, take a quick break as we get ourselves loaded up into game number 2. So don't go anywhere. Game 2 of We Love Soulbert and Team DG will be happening here in just a few minutes. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and non-binary friends, here to the Risen Esports channel and Premade Dominate Season 10. We're in week number 1 here. We just saw We Love Soulbert take down Team DG in a 20-minute matchup in game number 1. Team DG, they've got a lot to turn things around if they want to try to take game number 2 and force that game number 3 here. And it's going to take a lot of effort to do so.
Yeah, I would say so. Things aren't looking particularly good for DG, but like we spoke about, earlier, it's kind of like it's a game of variables, right? Things can happen. You don't know. Anything could happen, and I'm looking forward to seeing DG make the big comeback in this series and winning out, especially Surge Relic, right? We'll do it for Surge Relic, but we're into the pro draft now. And it's Team DG on the blue side this go around. The Aphelios band is going to be first out of the gates with Udyr answered back for Soulbert. Joker, what are we seeing in this draft?
I am seeing a little bit of the change here. Team DG took away the Renekton as that was a disgusting Renekton from Chisei. Just absolutely brutal.
Yep.
And that's pretty massive here. Team DG learning from game number 1 and taking it into game number 2. And That's actually going to be pretty big overall. And when you think about the course of the season, we are in a 20 team league, 2 groups of 10 teams. The top 4 from each group will make it onto the playoffs, and that is going to be something that Team DG, if they want to make the playoffs, they have to show the evolution. They have to be able to take some of these games, some of these series off of teams like We Love Soulbert, because top 4 out of 10 teams, it's more teams that are going to miss it than are going to make it, and you have to win every game possible. So Team DG really need to step things up here and try to take down We Love Soulbert, or at least show a little bit of effort. But Soulbert, they actually leave up the Seraphine, so Team DG pick it up here in their first pick, and that could be something turning around here for Team DG.
For sure, yeah. Seraphine, super strong champion right now. I know Zale tweeted the other day, when are people going to realize that Seraphine is the best champion in League of Legends right now? And I know plenty of the smaller regions haven't figured it out. We haven't figured it out in Academy or anything. But down here in the Dominate League, oh yeah. Yeah, we figured it out. Seraphine locked in for DG, and it's good stuff. You'll like to see it. Senna for Soulbert once again. I'm expecting the Swain for Soulbert themselves, as that went over pretty well there in game 1, even if it didn't necessarily hard carry. But to be honest, not sure what else Soulbert plays these days. I guess a Kog'Maw from time to time, but that's not necessarily in the meta at the moment.
But the Victor, though, being locked in for Soulbert, that's most likely going to go to Earl King in the mid lane. We could see Victor bot. We saw some splashings of it in Season 9 when mages in the bottom lane were all the rage with all the AD carry itemization issues and just issues with the champions in general. So I don't think that's going to happen, but Soulbert did just play Swain, so I don't think anything is necessarily off the table right now. Lilia is, though, picked up here for Team DG, so another earlier focused jungler, but someone who can kind of scale into the mid to late game if you go with that damage route. If you do decide to go for the Moonstaff build, it's a little bit more tricky, as you have to be able to dodge in and out of the fights very easily and stay alive. And going up against something like a Jarvan makes it very, very difficult for a Lilia to do so, because you just trap the Lilia in the Cataclysm. You can't run around the edge of the fights and try to influence the fight that way, or at least get some sleeps on the outside. You're just kind of stuck.
Certainly here, J4.
Oh, never mind.
Excuse me, J4 not going to get locked in. Hecarim coming in, picked away from Team DG. At least that would be the assumption anyway. I don't know what it is with these 2 teams in Hecarim, but Olaf, for God's sake, is left of a board once again, Joker. I'm extremely angry. I will never get over this, but Fiora banned away from Team DG. And I'm looking forward to this Nautilus. I think this is going to be a lot of fun. This is the Seraphine bot, right? I'm just assuming, but...
With the Nautilus pickup, I would actually not be surprised. That does lead to the Seraphine double cast on her E main being a stun as opposed to a root. So I do like it, and it does create a pretty good lane matchup here, or at least a pretty solid lane for Team DG. There is a fair amount of damage that can come in, and especially against the Senna, who's not exactly the most mobile. You lock her down at all, and she can immediately get blown up. So good things for Team DG, looking to try to play through their bot lane once again, as we do see the Fiora Jax banned away by Soulbert, and Swain again banned away by DG. So continuing the evolution, continuing the learning and the growth pattern from game number 1.
Definitely. He banned away all the champions that We Love Soulbert used to such great effect there in that first game, except for the Twisted Fate. Now, the Twisted Fate is up, but Victor's been picked. I'm doing the math in my head, and I'm thinking, Twisted Fate bot with Senna support? I don't know. Maybe it could happen. It's on hit. That's Pike top.
That's a Pike locked in. I don't know where it could go, because we could see Senna Pike in the bottom lane with the fasting Senna. We could see Senna Victor in the bottom lane with a Pike mid. I don't know. We're gonna have to wait to see the last pick and then see exactly what happens in the actual draft. as we are waiting here to see what DG want to take. They are taking a few pigs blind, as they do have the Wukong locked in. Now we're waiting to see, because of the flex picks from We Love Soulbert, we don't know exactly what's going to happen. Neither do Team DG. And that's part of the benefit of having so many flex picks, is the other team just don't know what's going to happen.
I certainly don't know what's happening, but I am absolutely a real analyst here. Last pick coming through for DG. See what they got for us waiting here. This is something. I still don't know.
Okay, all right. The Ezreal picked up here for DG. That means that Seraphine's going into the mid lane. Ezreal Nautilus is not a lane that we normally see together, but it can work out.
Definitely, and it's something that they like to pick from time to time. I don't know who's going to go mid lane. I mean, Seraphine, I guess.
Yeah.
Who do not pick that. Oh, no. You don't want Volibear into Wukong. Oh, boy. Okay. All right.
Apparently, Soulbert do want the Volibear into the Wukong. Tell me about that matchup, because obviously it sounds like you are not a fan of that.
Okay, so this is a direct counter. Yeah, it's a direct counter for Volibear. It doesn't do well in this matchup at all. Your damage rotation for Volibear is Q, run in, stun target, drop E on target, ult target. That's the damage rotation, and you weave W's in there with autos in between. You want to make sure you're stacking up 5 iterations of damage to stack up your passive and get that AP ratio down onto the target. And making sure you're getting that bonus damage from your passive. Now, everything I just mentioned gets very, very difficult to do when you're doing all of it onto a clone without you realizing, because there's no way to tell. So normally how you tell Wukong is a clone is when it stops moving, right? Well, if your whole damage rotation starts out with you stunning the target, you don't know it's a clone until your entire rotation has gone through. And by that time, you will not have known that you dropped the whole thing onto a clone. And then Wukong is just standing behind you like, nice damage, and kills you. This sounds like it's very convoluted and isn't actually going to play out, but please watch this happen. It is absolutely tragic to watch a Volibear drop all these huge cooldowns onto a Wukong clone. It is just awful to watch.
It is a very, very sketchy matchup, especially once Wukong hits that level 6 and gets a double knockup basically from any range with the clone, if the clone is still out. And so that could mean that TDG want to play around Fisho mode in the top lane. He had the Shen in game number 1. They didn't get a chance to play around him. So now they're turning the tide. They're leaving their bottom lane to their own devices with the Nautilus, the Ezreal. Two champs that kind of want to do different things. Ezreal just wants to sit back and poke with Q. Nautilus wants to go in with the dredge line. So it's a matter of how do these two communicate well enough to make this bottom lane work out. Meanwhile, they can absolutely play around the top half of the map with the Seraphine, the Lilia, and the Wukong. Does create a very, very scary trio to try to play around that top half of the map, try to play around the Rift Scuttler, try to play around Rift Herald. We Love Soulbert. They do have their work cut out for them in that top side of the map.
They definitely do. I don't think they're going to see a lot of success up there. Now, they don't necessarily need to. I feel like game 1 was kind of an outlier for Soulbert. Playing around the bot side of the map is kind of this team's MO. By the way, this go around, we're going to see Soulbert on set. So, a little bit of change up for you there. But I believe Ishwan played it last game. But anyway, yeah, seeing them play around the bot side of the map is not strange at all. This is kind of like classic Soulbert. What I want to think about this bot lane for DG is more the Nautilus just kind of leaving lane and Poisonous Viper being by themselves and not necessarily having to deal with the potential kill pressure that Pyke might bring to the table normally. Ezreal playing very safe, staying at long range of the Arcane Shift, and Poiba using this pressure that they bring as a roaming support and bringing that to the mid lane, being able to enable Seraphine to get the kills on this Victor, who is like hyper late game, right? You have a lot of safety as Victor in your passive. It gives you a lot of movement speed on your autos and stuff like that, but it's very difficult to get away from a Seraphine Nautilus. There's a lot of lockdown there, and not just that, but damage too. So that's a lot of the power that Seraphine brings to the table, and combined with Nautilus is very dangerous for this Victor. Now, what I am worried about for Poisonous Viper is that if you're left alone down the bot lane, you're potentially dealing with a dive from a Hecarim and a Pike. That's a lot of in, right? Potentially not enough out on the Ezreal to deal with all that in. So you got to make sure that you have tracking on this jungler if you're going to make a roam from the Nautilus.
Yeah, that's going to be all on Surge Relic. Surge Relic needs to work with Poiba to try to get into the jungle, get some vision down, and just try to see if they can't find Jalingo. Surge Relic didn't have a fantastic game on the Hecarim, and Lilia is a very similar champion in the early game, wants to move around a lot, wants to try to hit 6 to get that fight-changing ultimate, and try to affect the lanes as much as she can from there. Jalingo on that the different jungler here than game number 1 had did have the Graves, did play it very, very well, but once again gonna be on a affecting champion, wants to hit 6 and try to play through the lanes there, and needs to get that farm and try to see if they can find something maybe out of the blue, or find a random gank if someone's pushed in a little bit too much. But hey, have to see exactly what happens. We got a couple swaps here and champions, good bans from Team DG evolving from game number 1. I'm excited to see how they can play here in game number 2.
100%. It's going to be an exciting game, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, absolutely. So go ahead, get yourself some water, get yourself some snacks. We're going to take a quick break as we load on to the Rift for game number 2. So don't go anywhere. Make sure you keep that browser open. Risen Premade Dominate League. We'll come back here in just a moment. Welcome on to the Rift, ladies, gentlemen, non-binary friends here for game number 2 between Team DG and We Love Soulbert. And everybody getting loaded up and seemingly just fine. We had talked a little bit about the compositions, about the champions these players have picked. Ishwan does have his Pike, is a fantastic Pike player, already looking for this early invade, at least trying to find some information. Let's just Surge Relic away. Makes Surge use a ward outside of his red buff. So not going to get the deep vision into the jungle. Ben is looking on the top side to try to throw down some other kind of vision. Do want to point out, Surge Relic has gone for the burst damage. So most likely will not be going with the Moonstaff build. And CW Ben has gone for the Guardian as well. So that's going to be an interesting rune in the mid lane, because you're not going to get the interactions with a lot of your teammates early on in the game. So you kind of have a dead rune for the first 15 minutes or so.
Yeah, and you're looking for that realm potential that we talked about from Nautilus as early as possible in this game. And maybe it's a little hopeful to bring Guardian into the table, because you're right, you're not going to be spending that much time around friendly champions. But at least with this, to me, it's a little bit of a nod to saying, yeah, there's going to be a lot of people mid lane most of the time. So it depends on the usage, right? I mean, if Nautilus makes it up here in the early game, if Lilia drops the level 2, level 3 gank on this mid lane, yeah, it's gonna come in handy, but it's a little strange. Yeah, a little out there. Things progressing slowly top lane.
Yeah, things progressing, just trades all across the map right now, and starting to see a little bit of the health difference in favor of We Love Soulbert. Ben took a lot of damage there from Earl King, didn't have the opportunity. The level 2 was hit here from Team DG. Poiba fakes out Ishwan, goes for Soulbert. They do trade with the Ignite, but Poiba has a shield. No issues there. Meanwhile, in the top lane, Fisho and Chisei trading out. Now, Chisei does have the passive up, so early game, before that clone can come out, Chisei can put in quite a lot of damage. Got to be very careful, though. Once Fisho mode hits 3, has that clone available, has to make sure he's hitting the right target.
Yeah, and oh, here we go. The flash away there. Yeah, it's crazy. The Dorn's Blade is putting in a lot of work there for Chisei. Strange seeing him start Dorn's Blade. A lot of Volibears will start Dorn's Ring for the bonus AP, but I guess if you're this confident on the champion, you're gonna pick up thing it's gonna give you the most damage, especially just kind of face tanking things like this. Good to see him keeping up the passive, though. It's really nice to see. Jillingo top side, along with Surge Relic.
Could be looking, we could end up seeing a fight here for the Scuttler, for the Scuttle Crab. That is going to be a bit interesting, though, as Jillingo does pop the Ghost, found Surge Relic. Surge Relic is very, very low, forced under turret, and that's going to mean that the Scuttle is going to go in favor of We Love Soulbert. Meanwhile, bottom lane trades once again. Soulbert trading on to Poisonous Viper. Ishwan starting to get back in favor, but out of sustain, no pots, no biscuits means that it's going to be a little bit scarier, as Poiba does have that pot, does have that biscuit available. So things to keep an eye on. Ben is half health. Jillingo does come in, does not have the Ghost. Can try to knock back Ben, trying to force any kind of summoners out, but Ben does not care. Had the shield, just stays alive.
Yeah, and Ben got the edge on that corner as well, right? So the charge kind of pushed him into that wall a little bit. If it had pushed him down along that wall, things would have been a little bit different there. Probably worse for the Seraphine, but as it stands, Ben is stuck under a turret out of mana. So they're going to have to leave. You already see Earl King taking their reset, but they're going to be able to make it back into lane while the wave is pushing back into them. That's going to give them a bit of a CS lead here.
Something to point out as well, early itemization. Tiers were started from both Ben and Poisonous Viper. Ben does have the CS advantage, but Poisonous Viper, once again, in a massive CS hole, especially against a Senna, is an interesting thing to see, because Senna, you don't normally assume, has the greatest of early CSing, low attack speed, low attack damage. But Soulbert doing a fantastic job, is up that 14 CS right now, and really making Poisonous Viper's life a bit difficult in the bottom lane so far. Poima doing the best he can to try to help out, but with Ishwan now still at a good chunk of health, gonna be difficult for Team DG to try to really engage, force anything out. Poima though, hook goes wide, Soulbert stays alive.
All right, checking out the builds here. First ready set for Seraphine is going to give them a Kindle Gem for Chise as well. Looking for some of the ability haste there. Chise, yeah, going for the trade here. Doesn't end up getting all that good a trade across.
Poima gonna get rooted up. We'll try to turn things back around. The hook is gonna actually land on Poisonous Viper. Now they're gonna try to focus down onto the Ezreal. We'll have to heal and flash away as the Ignite was ticking down. Poima did not get rooted up, but a good trade there from the bottom laners. As Chise tries to drop the Thunder. Fisho Mode does not have the clone, so Chise he can go and turn, but there comes Surge Relic trying to turn right back around. Fisho Mode will try to turn around, but it's splendid. Chise as he chops down. Surge Relic does not have the ultimate, does not have the sleep, so Chise will be able to chase him out of lane. Once again, first one going over to Chise. Second game in a row that the top laner for Wheel of Soulbert gets first blood. Now Jalingo looking for this dive. Will at least be able to push away the bottom lane from Team DG. So some plates early on coming out for Wheel of Soulbert. Things looking up for Wheel of Soulbert.
Yeah, and that's a problem with this trade. Fisho Mode uses the clone to dodge the Thunder. To be honest, I would rather see you eat the Thunder and hold on to the clone, because as soon as you use that clone, you're getting stunned by Volibear, and that's when he gets the kill down onto you. Drops the stun onto him, drops the ult on 2, which is like a 300 base damage or something like that. And honestly, everything was going to be fine as Surge Relic was coming up, and then Fisher Mode just kind of walked back into range of him, and he got bit. He got eaten. So unfortunate trade there, but very, very well played for Chise, understanding exactly the limits of the champion.
Yeah. Hopefully Fisher Mode goes once bitten, twice shy and understands that, all right, maybe I can't take these trades now. Maybe I can't really take these fights, or I have to take them in a different way if I want to succeed and at least try to stay even. It's got to be toiling on your mental to lose first blood in 2 games in a row to your lane opponent, especially when we saw how Chise played the Renekton. Volibear is more of a mid-game champion than Renekton. Can have the influence in the later game as well with the Stormbringer, can shut down those turrets and try to help make the dives even scarier. So that's going to be something that you have to keep an eye on if you are Team DG. You can't let Chise continue to get further ahead. He's building up a CS lead as well. He's looking very, very scary as Soulbert's going to get focused down in the bottom lane. Poisonous Viper tries to dash in, land a little bit of more damage. Soulbert is skirting this line heavily. Will land the root onto Poisonous Viper, but has to be careful. Yes, does have the healing, but no pots available. Means that it's going to be very, very scary for Soulbert, but will stay alive.
Yeah, not a ton of fun there for him, but ooh, Royal King. Blowing the flash there for Ben. It's good stuff in the mid lane. As Rift Herald falls to Jalingo topside. You have to imagine this is going to be a dive onto our Wukong here in a little bit.
Yeah, I would not be surprised to see that happen. As each one will actually dive in, gets rooted up, will end up not landing the stun, but will get the exit.
Oh,
thanks to the ultimate from Soulbert coming in. Now they're seeing if they can't turn on a Poima, but no execute available once again. Ishwan picking up the kill there, and a nice play from the bottom lane of Wheel of Soulbert.
Yeah, we love seeing. Oh, here we go.
Yeah, meanwhile, in the top lane, once again, Fisho Mode trying to turn it on a Chise.
Yep.
Chise right there.
There it is.
And picks up a second kill here. 3 kills early on in the game for Wheel of Soulbert. Ishwan gonna hook back boy, but teleport will come in from both Chise and Earl King. They're looking to make this a 4-man party, 5-man party in the bottom lane as Jalingo is right there. Chise the killing spree. Is the only one left standing there. And it's going to go to Ishwan, and they'll get the dragon. We love Soulbert. just immediately dialing it up to 10 and taking everything that they want. 4K gold lead 10 minutes in.
So I guess taking the Renekton off of Chisei wasn't necessarily the fix that they were hoping for. I think they just had to find a way to take Chisei out, like, entirely. This guy is going to carry on anything. He's got the Divine Sunder completed now. That's the first Mythic on the Rift so far. And yeah, he's off to the races. How do you stop this Volibear? I don't have a good answer for you. It doesn't seem like the Wukong was enough, but we'll see if they got any more tricks up their sleeve. Unfortunately, they're kind of on that similar scenario that we saw to game 1, where DG just kind of lost and just kind of asphyxiated a little bit. Yeah, I think Soulbert kind of wins these. What are you thinking, Joker?
I'm thinking that with the Divine Sunder picked up, Chisei's going to have a lot of extra damage, a lot of extra healing. Yixuan, though, going to try to find Ben. We'll force Ben into the mid lane. We'll land the charm. The hook comes in, but there's the execute from Yixuan. No. There is the trade, though. Yixuan trying to stay alive. We'll get knocked up. We'll get focused out by Surge Relic, and we'll end up falling as Jalingo's right there being focused out by Poiba. The hook will land. Okay. Jalingo trades on to Surge Relic and picks up the double kill.
Oh, no.
That is not the way you wanted that to go. 3 for 2 overall there. Kills going over to Jalingo, and that is very, very scary. Yes, you get some gold for Team DG. It's all going on to Surge Relic, though. Ben doesn't pick anything up. Poisonous Viper wasn't there. Fisher Mode's still behind. Gold going over to Jalingo in the jungle is very, very scary, as Chisei just...
Oh, don't stand in the lightning cone!
Oh, Fisher Mode just looks a little bit, a little phased there. Does not know exactly what's happening. Is Soulbert looking for the kill? Gets it!
Jeez.
With the snipe. The Dawning Shadow shadows the end, or shows the end of Poisonous Viper there. And I mean, really just continuing to run away with this game as we love Soulbert. The dive from Chisei coming in. Will not use the Stormbringer on the turret. Does not need to. But will at least force Fisher Mode away as the first turret falls in the bottom lane. Surge Relic, though, started to turn things back around.
Oh boy.
We'll try to turn it on to Chisei, but Chisei just does not care. The Divine Sunderer will heal quite a bit, provides a lot of extra damage as well. This is one bear that you are just not going to be able to take down.
He still has ult up. Like... He could have, I think he could have just ulted Surge Relic there. It might not have hit. You know, Lilia does a lot of, or has a lot of movement speed, so, you know, they didn't necessarily need to use it, but, like, the fact that he still has resources up after making a play like that is crazy. Like, there's nothing stopping this guy. He's going to come back in the lane with tier 2 boots, got Lucidity boots, or some serious ability haste there.
Surge Relic.
Oh,
bye-bye. Yixuan picking up that kill. Gold going over as well to Earl King. So just control across the map. CS differences for every lane, every position. And we are seeing another 9K gold lead 13 minutes in as Chisei tries to dive in. Will chase down Fisher Mode, does not get baited out by the clone.
Yeah, I'll say. That, like, zero hesitation, just knew it was a clone. To be honest, I like to see Fisho like fake one, like just stop and eat the stun and see if he runs past him.
Yeah, you read my mind, actually. A lot of
I think that might be funny.
Well, not only funny, but a lot of the play is using that clone effectively and the not using it effectively, if that makes sense. Being able to use the clone, but then also save it. Just sit and wait and see if you can't bait somebody out, and then maybe use the clone to dive away or to get a reposition. I want to see it, like you said, if Fisher Mode can, you know, bait that out and maybe make Chisei think that he's used the clone while he's just standing there. It does have the animation at the end of the clone, and it's only a few seconds long, so Chisei would end up seeing it if he stays around. So something to keep an eye on if you're trying to do that. As Ben is going to get caught in the mid lane, does have to flash away from Yixuan, who is just affecting this map quite often. 4-1 and 2 here on the Pike. Chisei going to try to dive Fisher Mode. knows that the clone was right there, took the turret shot, but does not even care.
Yeah, it doesn't really care, right? Still has ult up. To be honest, he could probably kill the turret right now with ult if he wanted to, but he doesn't have to. I mean, there's nothing even challenging him anymore. Ishon, by the way, 4-1-2 on the Pyke. Monster Pyke performance so far. Don't want to undercut that with all the talk about top lane, but second drag goes down to Jalingo there on the solo. Things go from bad to worse here for DG. The 10k gold lead for Soulbert and Joker. You know what we say back on the farm. This game's over. Let's go get tacos.
Well, Team DG, they say, well, this game might not be over yet. They're going to delay the taco date by at least a few minutes, as they do pick up Earl King there in the mid lane. They expend a lot for it, and that could be a problem. The nice flash stun from Ishwan is going to catch them. There's one kill. He's waiting to see if he can't get the reset, though. He will end up falling as Fisher mode with the nice teleport comes in. Chase being focused off of the back line as Jalingo is still barely alive. Should end up falling here. Jalingo does end up getting the kill. Soulbert rotates around just in time to help pick up that extra kill. It's a 3 for 2 once again. 3 for 3 in the overall trade. Excuse me, as Earl King did fall early on, but the push continues to come in from We Love Soulbert. They should take this turret once again. All 3 turrets falling here before 20 minutes. Things are looking really good for We Love Soulbert, but Team DG trying to fight back.
That'll do, Bert. That'll do. Let's see if they can end it sub 20. You think they can do it?
They have a little bit of a further lead than they did in game number 1. And game number 1 ended just over 20 minutes. But I'm not 100% sure they will end before 20. I think it will be another 20 to 25 minute game, but DG does have a little bit of a better composition. They do have the ability to team fight well if they can layer their ultimates properly. They have a better way to try to fight back, so there's the opportunity for them to continue to try to farm up, maybe get a couple of these trades here and try to turn things back around, but it's a tall order for them to do so.
You think Chise ever builds any AP? Or is it just kind of like the Juggernaut build for him?
I think you just go Bruiser.
I think he just builds them.
Yeah, while the AP scaling is nice, I still think that you just go full Bruiser. You continue, maybe get some Black Cleaver. He does have that Phage once again. Has the pickaxe as well, so I'm not sure exactly what he's building into. Viper will use the shift away, try to stay alive, using the ultimate to clear out the wave, but the Herald will be dropped in the mid lane. We'll get that charge off. It should end up taking out the turret. It does. And with the second Rift Herald, that's really all you can ask for, is just another turret to fall. So they do end up getting more extra standing gold as they look to rotate around. They're playing these side lanes very, very well. Soulbert can just stay on his own in the side lane. He is very, very safe. Ishwan making Surge Relic a little bit sketchy there in the jungle, or at least making Surge Relic think a little bit harder about what he's going to try to do, as we do see Jalingo trying to dive fish show mode. Gets baited by the clone, but that's okay because they get 2 tier 2 turrets as well. They're really starting to push the gold lead and push this map. This might be the one final fight here for Team DG. Surge Relic goes golden. Will end up falling though, as that's way too many people. Ishwan gets the execute once again. 3-man sleep will at least keep We Love Soulbert from pushing in further. But you lose a lot. You lost 2 inner turrets. You lose your jungler. Things are just not looking good for Team DG.
Joker, I saw everybody freeze, and I assumed that they had FF'd, that the game is ending, but no, they were just all asleep for a short time there. But they got 30 seconds on the clock. I don't think they're going to get sub 20 here. We might get sub 22 though. And oh, maybe they rotate into Chise. No, I'm gonna stay mid here.
Yep. They try to go in. Big Feet ult is going to catch multiple people, but it just looks like Soulbert is just too strong. Fisher mode has to back away. Poisonous Viper being the next focus. That was a great Seraphine ult, but it turns out for not, as Chisei gets the double. Soulbert does end up falling to the turret. Jalingo almost falls to the turret, but that is the first inhibitor turret picked up right at 20 minutes.
Yep, 20 seconds now on this dragon. They're going to be rotating back onto it. This is the first of the mountain dragons spawning on Summoner's Rift. I don't think we make it to 4 dragons here, folks, but we'll see. Oh, that's an interesting back animation. I don't think I've seen that from Victor. Couple things you want to look at here, looking at these team fights, is that Lily is far and away the most successful member of their team so far. So you'll see a lot of priority on trying to get that champion into the dust. You normally want to not spend too much time trying to get a hold of the safer champions. So Wukong, Ezreal maybe spending a little more time alive throughout the fights. Kind of leaves Lily and Seraphine going down relatively quickly. That's about all I got for you. What do you got for me, Joker?
I mean, that's a great analysis of how the team fight should go.
I appreciate it.
I mean, you're absolutely right. It's going to be so difficult for Soulbert to try to get onto those dodgy champions like Fisher mode, like Poisonous Viper, and if Surge Relic can't avoid the middle of the fights, you take out the gold, you take out any chance for Team DG to really come back. As we're seeing Soulbert kind of play around the map, looking like they're going to try to take the dragon or Baron. Excuse me. They're going to 2-man it for now. As Chisei is just going to push in the bottom lane.
Ooh.
Nothing Team DG can do. They'll be able to take this Baron for absolutely free. They might trade Chisei for it, as Chisei is all alone in the bottom lane. But this is the great pressure that you need to sneak a Baron like this. Is pressure across the map in one lane. Let the rest of your team take the Baron for free. Chisei will stay alive because Team DG did not pull the trigger and try to 5v1 and take out the Baron in the bottom lane. That really could have helped them out a lot. They decided not to do it. They felt like they couldn't kill him, and it's going to cost them.
Yeah, Chisei potentially looking for the dive here in the fish shell. See how this unfolds here. Oh boy.
Yeah, that is still a lot of damage. The passive lightning from the auto attacks from Chisei will still hit fish shell mode while he's cloned and stealthed out. Earl King all alone here in the mid lane, whittles down the inhibitor to about half HP, but right now, Team DG are just being strung across their own base. They really can't do anything about it. Earl King is going to get the first inhibitor, and Chisei's going to get the second inhibitor. No, he's going to actually rotate up as a flash hook was used, but Poima didn't land anything. Now Earl King going to be focused out. Chisei going to try to turn it on to Fisher mode. Double knockup, and there goes the Stormbringer. Ultimate will not land. Earl King, though, will take out a Fisher mode. Ben does have to go run away. Surge Relic running away as well. Double kill picked up for Earl King. That's going to be the game. That's going to be the series here. We love Soulbert. Starting off their next season super strong with a 2-0 victory over DG. They're just looking to pad the stats.
Like men possess, Joker. We love Soulbert are playing League of Legends very, very well here. At least DG are making them look good anyway. That was something else. Deathless on the Volibear's Chisei. And everybody else only got about 1 or 2 deaths themselves. That's a very dominant performance. We love to see it.
Absolutely, and it's very, very fitting for the first week of Premade Dominate is the fact that We Love Soulbert had such a dominating performance here. Looking at the post game, and Chisei had 11k gold. Ishwan himself had 9k, and Surge Relic was the only one who was even close to Ishwan. And Surge Relic was almost 1,000 gold behind the support. That's when you know that you have completely run over your opposing team and just completely demolished them. Great play from We Love Soulbert, and a lot of flexible play as well. Bans thrown at them there in game number 2 to take away some of the powerful picks from game number 1. They come back with other powerful picks. They take some picks away, and they immediately show up and show why they are the defending champions.
Yeah, and I would believe it here. I've been casting Soulbert for about a year now, and this is exactly what I expect from this team. They're just very strong together, working as a team, and it doesn't surprise me that they put out a performance like this. I don't think it's anything against CG, to be honest. This is just one of the better teams in the league, if not the best team in the league. So I think it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, defending champs for a reason. They showed it here week number 1. Well, that is going to be it for us here for week number 1 of Premade Dominate. It's Joker and Axeman once again bringing you the call. We got to thank Gala there on production, doing a fantastic job. Even though his computer kind of said, hey, no, we don't want to see the game, we made sure that we brought it to you. So Gala, thank you so much for the production. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in here to Premade Dominate week number 1. We'll be back with more Premade and open action next weekend. So make sure to keep your browser tuned to Risen Esports. Thanks so much. Have yourselves a great, fantastic Valentine's holiday.